Steve, in addition to just these doctors, that are biased, the in-house doctors and the doctors outside that are hired, we know that they also use these third-party companies that are supposedly set up to do these independent exams. Do you guys see that as well?
Correct. There's one, BMI, I think, is one I see a lot. You'll see multiple doctors underneath that company where they'll go in and they'll send just the files over for the review, and it's almost the same cookie-cutter mold review and the response that they will give. Another thing with a specific question. So how independent is it when it's a company that employs doctors for the sole purpose of doing these types of things? And a lot of people say it's a doctor for hire. It's the insurance company buying what they want. And essentially, there's conferences to train these doctors on how to, perfect their reports, and, they're going out specifically to them with the intent to be able to come up with a reasonable basis for them to try to deny the claim, no matter how unreasonable it may really seem to, an average person, how much common sense is involved in it.
Well, let me tell you about two things you just said. One of them, which was in another case I just read before today, Hartford Insurance Company would use an outside independent company to do their exams. So this outside company, not Hartford, that's supposed to be independent, over a 5-year period was paid more than $13 million. And that company's job was to go out and hire doctors for Hartford. So, how independent and how neutral are they? Not only that, in a deposition of somebody from this University Disability Consortium, the president of the company, he said, we usually charge $300 an hour, but for Hartford, we're going to charge $225 an hour because they give us volume of work. So this is the independent company who did a negotiated rate for doctors to give reports to them. It's very scary. You mentioned one other thing. There was another company called MLS, which was a company out of Michigan, and they did a lot of work with Liberty Mutual, Cigna, and MetLife. And there was a case a couple years back where the MLS, this independent company, manipulated the report beyond what the doctor they had hired had given them. So now you have an issue of this independent company who wants to please their employer, the insurance company, who's manipulating reports to make them look favorable for the insurance company, so the insurance company will keep hiring this so-called independent company.
And Greg, we've actually seen in many of the conferences that we've attended, these companies set up, their booths right there at the conference to essentially solicit that insurance company's business.
Right. I think the last trade show we were at in New York, there were like 8 different independent medical exam companies that are going to find doctors for all the insurance companies.
Right.